sports.
Right, exactly.
So they're the same
With
genetics.
intensity,
Yeah, but they're
fantastic
fighting over
wrestling.
custody.
They couldn't stop him.
His offensive maneuver and him attacking is horrible, but you can also identify that, you know what, there's a certain percentage of Ukrainians who identify as ethnic Russians. In other words, there are some complications here that you may not understand as Americans, and I just don't believe that we should be sending over bodies or money. It's not our war. You comment below and let me know what you think. Of course, Lindsay World War III Graham, that should be his new nickname, has other justifications. So let's go through the claims here as to why Lindsey Graham thinks we need to get more engaged.
There's also a lot of irony, too.
Yes, and we'll get into that. So here's claim number one, is that saving Ukraine is the equivalent to saving democracy.
He's trying to destroy a neighboring democracy. He hates democracy, Putin. And I would just say this to President Putin. If you invade Ukraine,
what up, bro?
you destroy the ability of future presidents to treat Russia as normal.
Day two louder with Crowder. He's got Alex Jones on. He's just trying to, he's giving the ultimate fuck you to YouTube.
Every Congress in the future will pound you if you dismantle this democracy. So be
This is
careful
awesome.
what you wish for.
Think a lot about pounding.
That's what I was going to say.
170,000 viewers yesterday on Rumble. Almost 200 at peak.
Pound you. Yes.
Oh, McCain, pound me.
Yeah, take it. My friends. I'll pound my friends. So,
Get in here. Get on the desk.
Bring it in.
Lindsay, get on the desk.
get on the desk. Not above my shoulders. Not above my shoulders. Pound you on the desk.
You're hurting my legs.
Let's wheelbarrow so I can do this.
I want to watch it on YouTube just to see when they take it down, almost.
Whatever. You can go watch it on Rumble because YouTube can piss off. So here's the truth. Ukraine is hardly a bastion of democracy. Again, all references are publicly available at louderwithcrowder.com. You can check the references below.
They've outlawed all political parties, including ones.
I normally don't pay for any content. This month is free until the end of the month, but I might just get that year. I don't know.
If anyone even criticizes the war,
$89 is a lot of money to listen.
Zelensky's now
Something to listen to.
Church in Ukraine, the Orthodox Church.
There's a little bit more to that, though. The Orthodox Church and their ties with Putin, right?
Well, certainly, it's all the same. Yeah.
But you get a coffee
They
mug.
also, by the way, with all of that said, Ukraine is rated as the second most corrupt country in all of Europe. Russia's number one. That's why I say, just break off the pool cue and let's have tryouts. I don't care.
Hey, True Destiny, welcome.
Rankings are determined by public sector corruption. So that includes bribery, unlawful, unethical practices. If you're talking about money laundering, this is something.
I don't know many CIA guys that have this
national governing agencies who really
fuzzy
want
chin
you to go to war for Ukraine. So saving Ukraine is saving democracy. Not exactly. Not
You look
exactly.
more like a
This is the country that wants you
insurgent than I do a CIA.
Yes.
It's the glasses.
Oh my word. Yeah. Here's another truth. Democracy really isn't.
Welcome.
We're talking about foreign policy here. The U.S. doesn't have the power to defend every. Nor should we, by the way.
We're going to stop for gas and we're going to go downtown to our corporate office. I got to pick up tickets for Sunday.
I was going to say about the full clip, just before we went live, your producer was showing for
Them Toledo walleye.
I've already seen the clip, but Graham goes on to say, you can't just go and invade countries and rewrite their borders and put in new governments. That's you've got to go to war with a country that does that. And I'm just thinking, wow, the U.S. in the last century is the champion of doing that.
Yeah.
And we sure, maybe we had reasons. The point is, by his rules, then the United States is far worse than Russia.
Yeah, I don't know that I would agree with it because the United States doesn't take over the land. In other words, I would say proof positive the U.S. isn't just like Russia would take over Ukraine if they could. The fact is, Canada couldn't stop us if they tried their mighty best. We could take them over by 2 o'clock today. So, yeah, we kind of have these proxy wars, but then we maintain interest in trading as opposed to just actually taking over land.
Well, we just have the corporations take them over. Look, I love America and what's left of it. I'm not saying America is worse than Russia.
Hey, Doug, welcome.
The irony of his statement that you can't just invade countries.
Alex Jones on Louder with Crowder.
What are you doing to put a finer point on? Yeah, no, exactly. Now watch me advocate.
I'm watching it on Rumble too, so even when they dump it on YouTube, it's gonna keep playing.
By the way, in World War II, the U.S. allied with the Soviets, right? And we keep allies like Saudi Arabia to hedge against Iran. Sometimes you ally yourselves with bad people. I understand that. The point is it's not as simple as democracy good, everything else bad, and certainly not as you're applying.
I ain't heard anything said yet that would get them dumped, though.
Something like democracy, and they both have leadership that is incredibly bad, which you're not allowed to say in a lot of places on YouTube right now. This may be fact-checked as misinformation, right? Because they decided to get rid of non-pro-Ukraine. Those are the words, not anti-Ukraine narratives.
Right.
I'll leave it playing while I'm getting gas.
So if you're on YouTube,
and I run into the office.
Right now. Head on over to Rumble, and of course we're going to be going for another full 45 minutes or hour with Alex Jones. Free Mug Club all month. LouderWithBetter.com/Mug Club. We can flip them the bird as long as you join.
But do not visit MadMaxWorld.tv.
Right, MadMaxWorld.tv at noon Eastern.
Do not visit.
Because you will not be there.
You're not allowed to go to MadMaxWorld.tv.
You are not, and you won't be there.
I will not be at Infowars.com or anywhere.
You will not be anywhere.
I deserve to not be there.
Nothingness. All right, let's go on to the next claim with Lindsey Graham. Claim number 2. He says we have to stand up to Ukraine now, Alex, in order to deter China. Roll clip.
If you believe pulling the plug on Ukraine makes China less provocative, you should not be allowed to drive in South Carolina.
What?
So China's watching like
You shouldn't be allowed to drive in South Carolina, Mr. Cataracts in Chief.
I love that was the insult that he threw. You should
not be allowed to drive.
You should not be able to drive in South Carolina. I don't know why that state keeps fucking electing that piece of shit.
Especially if I'm drinking coffee. So here's the truth. Our unlimited support and unwavering support, it actually hurts our ability to deter China. Now, again, this is the idea of short-term gains.
It supercharges China. It unifies them with Russia. It forces them to do deals in oil and gas. And with India, blowing up the Nord Stream only helped Russia increase their overall sales prices. And as you pointed out, almost all of our weapons are now depleted.
Right, that's exactly the point, right? So this is actually a quote, I believe, from Assistant Secretary of Defense for Strategy and Force Development, Elbridge Colby, said that if we could favorably end the war quickly, that would be great, but what realistic prospect is there of that? Sending Ukraine some F-16s is not going to alter that. It's a massive war of attrition, and Russia is gearing up for a long war. And like you just said, here's a really uncomfortable truth, right? You've galvanized sort of China to side with Russia. We talked about that. We did a whole hour segment not that long ago with you and Ginger Snap. So
Xi Jinping's there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, this very moment. Yep. I don't know how to do the time difference. I can't go through the anguish of adding 6, whatever the hell it is. So, supplying the Ukraine with weapons. Look, this is something that you need. The economy is not a zero-sum game, right? You can build more pods. You can't just build more carriers. You can't just build more. It's very expensive. It depletes our weapons stockpile. So this was also something Colby commented on, saying, arguing right now that we must defend Taiwan by defending Ukraine, strange credulity. It doesn't make much sense. If the war goes on, continuing to sap the United States resources and resolve as China grows in strength in Asia, the argument will become increasingly absurd. So we've so far spent or committed more than 100, because I don't know what spent versus committed, 113 billion, give or take a few billion to Ukraine. We've also committed an entire host of weapons. Yeah. And just to be clear, this is just from the fact sheet, and Alex, you probably are super familiar with this, by the State Department, assuming we trust them. We have given the Ukraine over 1,600 Stinger missiles, 8,500 Javelin missiles, 54,000 other anti-armor systems and munition, 100,000 rounds of small arms ammunition, 100 million, sorry. Oh my gosh, I misread that.
Forgot some zeros.
Admonish me. Someone needs to admonish 100 million rounds of small. That's almost as many as you have on your Jefferson farm. And then hundreds of thousands of various other artillery. Does that sound about right as far as depleting our military, Alex?
Well, that's it. The United States is basically out of ammo.
Yeah.
And Russia's running out too, but as you said, they're gearing up, they're digging in.
Yeah.
And the war hawks are just licking their lips because, as you said, this is going to be, they're talking about $1 trillion defense budget.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just on defense.
Yeah. And we're depleted, and there was a recent grading that came out that said the United States military preparedness is at an all-time low as far as modern.
Well, and this is what pisses me off. The conversation that we had, Ginger Snap and I, it was a different conversation then, because if we could have ended this thing early, yes, end it, right? Immediately. Russia moves in and takes Ukraine, immediately get it taken care of. If you let it go on, everything that Alex just said happens, right? We deplete munitions, we make sure that we don't have anything to be able to fight a war, but we also push China into the arms of Russia, because these guys are enemies. They're not naturally bedfellows, right? And now, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and so these guys are doing business together. That
Not gonna leave it unattended today.
We're not going to put an end to this, so we're going to drag it out forever. And if you want to go take Taiwan, it looks like now's the right time to do it.
China?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just makes that.
And Taiwan actually matters to the United States more.
Yeah.
Not saying that we necessarily need to get into a war, but if we want
Hello, babe.
something that would affect the rest of the world, sorry, not you. We don't need
Yeah,
Ukraine
but
for
80%
anything.
of the trade going through the South China Sea.
Yeah.
And if you expand on that, Xi Jinping is literally there
Yeah.
sizing up Russia and Putin's commitment to watch.
It's not them, it's us.
When they move on Taiwan, and the word is they can move in the next few months.
Yeah, except Xi Jinping got stuck in a tree trying to get the honey.
Yes, he did. Oh, you're father.
And by the way, if you want an actual
Solo
critique,
Cajun,
it would be better
welcome,
than
bud.
something like what Governor Ron DeSantis. And by the way, him and Donald Trump actually agree a lot as far as it relates to Ukraine. This is one area where they share quite a bit of commonality. Where he said, while the U.S. has many vital national interests, securing our borders, addressing the crisis of readiness with our military, achieving energy security and independence, and checking the economic, cultural, and military power of the Chinese
Run
Communist
in and
Party,
grab
becoming further entangled
beverage.
in a territorial dispute between Ukraine and Russia is
Before I stop at the corporate office.
And he understands, obviously, there are trade-offs, and Graham understands the Lockheed Martin checks. And this goes back to, Alex, when we were talking about, I was on your show. We were talking about sort of the issues here with why we went with Rumble. And please go over, and if you want to keep supporting what we do, like I said, join Mug Club. It's a month free. You get to see if you like it. If not, you can bounce. We constantly wonder, right? There's a lot of money in the conservative movement. We know that. There are plenty of people. There are a lot of billionaires. There are a lot of... And
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Saying, a lot of them, their heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
But then you look at the people who represent you. We talked yesterday about Section 230.
It's all about the power, man.
And all this grandstanding, right? They have all of these
All about the
senators,
power. I'm gonna grab my beverage. I'll be right back.
Control of pretty much everything. The courts, the House, the White House. Nothing is done with 230. You wonder why. Let me also ask you this. I've never met a Lindsey Graham fan. I've never met a Mitt Romney fan. I've never met a John McCain fan. I've never met a Paul Ryan fan. You're also hard-pressed to find a McCarthy fan. People say, okay, maybe win some, lose some. But the point is, how are these people always in the positions of greatest power within the party, and it completely disconnects with what you, the average American at home, actually believe? How is that the representative?
I have the answer.
I think you do.
It's called straight party voting. And they've been there 10, 20, 30, 40 years in the case of, the turtle, Mitch McConnell. And so it's just institutionalized that nobody really runs against them, or they've got 50 times the money. If they have a primary challenger, the corporate media blocks them out. And so in very rare cases, we're able to take them out. With Trump, despite all his issues, he was able to ride in on the populist Tea Party wave that built with Ron Paul and, you and so many others, and myself, countless others promoting freedom. That's what scares the Republican and Democrat establishment, is that what Trump rode in on is what could take over a party. And so we actually have a two-party system again. The Democrats, the party of globalism and communism and collapse in the New World Order. And the Republican Party is a mix of neocons and blue bloods and the new populist vein that's almost taken it over. So we're very, very close to actually having two parties again in this country, and that's why the power structure and the uniparty is so scared.
That's actually a very good point. We are close to having two parties again, because we'll say, man, the two-party system. No, we're not living with the two-party system right now. We are absolutely not. We really are in a uniparty system. The two-party system is certainly better than a parliamentary system. I come from Canada, where you can have Prime Minister Blackface get 30-something% of the vote. But I hope you like your weed as you sit in your 14-day quarantine in a camp. All right, we have and by the way, show Alex you love him there in the comment section, whether you're on Rumble or you're on YouTube, and let us know. Third chair is going to be rotating. Who else you want to see in there? We have a lot of people coming in here. It's always fun when Alex is in studio. Do not go to MadMax.
Do not.
What is it, madmax.tv?
It's madmaxworld.tv. That's just the latest URL, because they block our URLs all the time to try to, we try to share the evil place you're not supposed to go at 12 Eastern today.
Yeah, where you won't be, and madmaxworld.tv doesn't exist. But this is an important story here. The D.C. Deputy Mayor John Falciccio, if I have that right, Falciccio, I don't care, resigned his post after facing, quote, serious allegations of sexual harassment. According to Axios, the allegations were not detailed, thank God, but involve unwelcome advances in sexual contact. And this might sound like local news, but we always think it's important to cover this behavior. Look, this is true, but there's also the flip side of that, which is you don't know what constitutes sexual misconduct, and it makes everyone nervous. Like you said, we have beautiful women in this office. I don't even look them in the eyes.
Man.
Well, you're also a married man.
Well, I also don't look any woman in the eyes, period, especially if they're white women. Black women even come.
All right, we're back.
Beautiful skin. Oh, thank you. They give you free stuff.
That's a great point. Remember 2 years ago the Gillette commercial?
I usually turn the camera around, sorry.
A guy saying hi to a girl, and the other guy stops and don't talk to women. Right. They're trying to say men can't talk to women. But we can have drag queen time with men scantily dressed shaking their butts in front of little kids.
Yeah.
See, I mean, come on.
Hey, well, hold on a second.
Whoa,
What was?
whoa,
Hey,
whoa.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard what
Did you just call him? Say it again.
What? I called him a pussy.
Okay,
oh,
all right.
on,
No,
no,
you've got to go. We've all got to go.
HR guy.
We got to go to
I-
HR.
I
Gerald
did.
hired
I
HR.
did. I'm sorry.
You can't talk that way. We have women in the office. We got to go to HR.
God damn it.
So you can see that
Morning.
as the club expands, you really
Brandon?
can't say those kinds of things.
No, I can't see why, Sam. At
Ain't
all.
no name coder. Oh,
Well, specifically, women don't react positively to using as a derogatory term. Their
Welcome.
genitals.
God, you are the worst.
we're listening to Crowder with Alex Jones.
Derogatory.
Well, you use the word as an insult.
So,
Using specifically something feminine as a slur is actually weaponizing gender language, and it can be perceived as sexist.
What? So that it's gendered. That's
it's a gender problem.
It's a gender thing.
Sam,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was a gender
Gender
problem.
problem,
That's
yeah.
not the
Yeah,
problem.
no,
that's
we
the
can
problem.
solve
We can
that.
solve that.
Yes,
I
we
didn't
can.
want to target just one gender.
If it's gendered.
Yeah, especially if it's targeting one.
Well, do both.
Oh, you're a
What? That's gendered.
okay. Sorry.
Shit hitting the fan.
Let's just
Man, it's great you got HR like right there next door.
I'm not a fan of it.
No.
I don't know why Gerald hired it.
Listen, I was trying to build an organization, okay? I'm the CEO.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
why don't we then actually move the lawyer in here? You have the meetings right in this
Oh
room.
my
you would
gosh.
spend.
I'm
5
heading into
minutes
the-
from HR and
Into the fire now, so.
Yes.
He's the worst. He's the pits.
I think he's tough. I don't think he's a pussy.
No, he's not. He's not. I am.
We're gonna have to go back, Alex. Be careful.
So hey, wifey, this guy named No Name Coder, he's building an app to do facial recognition on cops, so they can be tracked.
Is there anything, by the way, going on out there, guys, with the Donald Trump arrest? You know, some of the
Pretty cool.
It's like the outside world is sectioned off, so we have to let.
Oh, there's a great vibe in here. It feels I like this studio.
You kind of have to close off the world, right? Yeah. And sometimes we're like, if something is happening, you guys have to let us know. The air's
Well, you know what? I do want to ask him one of his opinion, what he thinks of it. Yeah. So, Alex, like, obviously, we covered this yesterday, right? We were talking about it. I made the point today to Lane that it seems like he's playing 4D chess, and there's not a lot of people on the planet that can like out you for supposedly wanting to arrest them and then keep you from arresting them by doing it, right? It seems like that's what he's done.
Fuck yeah, man.
Anything, and it seems
I'm
like
all
they're
down.
backing down. Do you think that's what was going on, or do you think they were ever going to arrest him in the first place?
Alex, what do you think?
I believe that they intend to indict him today or tomorrow. But at the same time, the feds, years ago, before the statute of limitations ran out on these campaign finance issues, Stormy Daniels, didn't do it. So the statute of limitations is over by 2 years. It's all a fraud. It's all a stunt. But I think that they've got this Soros DA who's being pushed to it, hoping that some of the other criminal investigations in D.C. and in Georgia go ahead if he breaks the ice. But yes, Trump is like an idiot savant, and I don't mean that mean. Some things he does are really genius, some things aren't. But yes, him coming out when the Secret Service was told, and we're getting ready, he's going to be indicted as early as next Tuesday. He called him on it.
Yeah.
He criticized it. And then I think some higher-up Democrats and people said, look, it's going to make him more popular. He's going to get the nomination now. He's going to win by a landslide. It's already vaulted him up in polls like 15, 20 points ahead of DeSantis just since last week. And so it's blown up their face. But I, at the end of the day, think they're still going to be pig-headed. And either today or tomorrow or Wednesday, go ahead with the indictment. But it's still up in the air because I think so much pressure is being put on that DA, even by smarter Democrats that are saying, listen, you are going to basically energize Donald Trump.
Or sure. Do you think there will be protests if he's indicted?
Oh, well, I've got an issue with Trump on that. And I'm not saying he didn't have the right to say it. I'm not saying he's wrong to say it, but I would have said it better. We got set up on January 6th. We know that now. 1 million people came there. A few hundred attacked the police. The police hit themselves with tear gas. We have the footage.
Yeah.
That's how the first breach happened. But then they waved in the other folks and have put almost 1,000 of them in jail. It's an American gulag. It's absolutely terrible. And then Trump says, take our country back, protest, if I get indicted. Well, you could see then how some people will think, take the country back, and then if some provocateurs do something, they can now point right at Trump and say, see...
What's the plan today? I got to stop at our corporate office in downtown Toledo, pick up some hockey tickets, and then I got to go to the office. I got more interviews. They're finally hiring again at where my office is, so got to keep bringing in the useful idiots.
We don't want to be like Maxine Waters saying go out and get violent. We want to be the opposite. I get he's pissed. I get it's wrong. Someday there may be a 1776 issue where things are so bad we got to get physical. But I think we should exhaust
Some wage earners.
first randomly attacking police or Capitol buildings. It should be, how George Washington would do it. And I'm not wargaming that here. I'm just saying, physical war is a very serious issue, and it should start some riot.
Which I don't think he wanted, but like you said, he didn't word it. Maybe prudent.
Receptacles.
Like, hey, protest, make your voice.
What the fuck's going on? They're cutting the grass next to you.
But this, just being in a written post, it'll be easy.
Well, he's got a lot of power. He's got a lot of power, and it'll allow them to plant provocateurs like Ray.
A lot of times it drops off when we go by this water tower up here, so.
Listen, if you're filling up your tractor with gasoline and it's your farm, do you have a right to smoke a cigarette while you're doing it? Yeah, but it's probably something you shouldn't do.
Right.
And so he's lighting up a cigarette while he's playing with gasoline.
In light of January 6th, like you said, it's not, obviously the events of January 6th, like you said, a handful of people, 100 people, a couple hundred people attacked the Capitol. It's not that, it's how they used it to make hate.
Credit One Bank, a purchase over $10 has posted to your account.
But of course, his first post had typos and stuff. It's kind of endearing that even at 10 o'clock at night, he got like 6 or 7 Big Macs.
What the hell's that?
Half a container of...
Check that when I get stopped.
Oh, what's the beef pills he's got on his desk? What?
Sudafed.
Sudafed. Sudafed addicts.
Well, nobody likes that. Nobody has every right to be pissed.
He does.
He has every right, but yeah, I think we all...
No, he is a Sudafed addict.
Oh, is he?
No, there's always photos of him in his office. Like, you see Sudafed.
Is that ephedrine, Sudafed?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? I know, like in Broncaine and stuff for asthma, but I do know he has every right to be pissed. And I think, like what you're saying, though, the media will take this, and it doesn't matter. In other words, now, no matter what happens, if there's an act of violence at all, they will blame it on Donald Trump.
He should have added one word: peacefully protest against this judicial tyranny, something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because there are legal remedies to this to take care of this, right? And it is grandstanding. Like, the best possible picture for him to win re-election is Trump in handcuffs.
Oh, yeah.
If that picture
If they
ever
do,
comes
they're not
out-
going to do that. No, they're not going to do a perp walk. They can't do a perp walk.
There's no way.
Although it would be hilarious if he does an AOC like face. Just like, just kidding.
Nice.
Crazy bitch.
Yeah, that's why there's separation of powers in the federal system. People say, oh, you're for the federal government. No, the federal system, for folks that don't know, I just think of the schools. 3 branches of government, you have state and federal. And that's why the Secret Service is its own branch of the executive, and in many courts with a higher standing than a county or a district attorney. So they're there in negotiations that he won't be put in handcuffs. If they do demand to put him in jail a couple of days, the Secret Service is going to stay in the jail cell with him.
Yeah.
And if he ever went to prison, it's never happened before. We're talking about having to create a whole wing where basically the emperor stays.
Right.
Because if you do that, again, any prosecutor could take out a president anytime they want.
Yes. Okay. Now let's do the Trump with voters of color. We'll do that on month, which by the way is free all month.
And I can go really crazy now.
Well, hold on. We haven't left YouTube yet. So, but I do want to leave people this. Of course, it is madmatchworld.tv is where Alex Jones will not be at noon Eastern. But you know,
And I will not be hosting out of your studio, and you will not be coming on the show.
No, well, that last part,
We will not drink a bottle of whiskey on air.
okay. I don't know what's happening. So, just give me a second.
Dog co-host with me.
Give me a second. Give me a second. I do want to end with this, and it is madmatchworld.tv. We're talking about January 6th, guys, and before we go to this is one thing too. I saw a lot of during our absence. I sat there and I grew increasingly frustrated because I saw a lot of people acting surprised with what happened in the revelations of January 6th. So let me be really clear about something. There were new angles of security footage with January 6th and Tucker Carlson, but we on this show, if you watched the show within the first 2 months, knew what had actually happened on January 6th. You knew that the QAnon shaman had been escorted in and said, we have to be peaceful. We talked about that. When I see people out there, and this is something that really does tie into why we are so happy, and it feels like a 10,000-ton weight lifted off my shoulders with Rumble, is we did an entire January 6th stream, actually, on Rumble. Remember that when Gerald, there was the weather, so the hearing got canceled. And we took a risk, right? We said, you know what, this will be a low-watch stream because there is no event going on right now. We're not tying into something that's very topical. There is no actual hearing. But you know what, we're going to do it anyway. 3 or 4 hour stream. You can go and watch it on YouTube or on
There was a
Rumble right
hurricane
now.
in Florida, so
There was a hurricane in Florida, so they stopped it. We said, screw it, we're going to do it anyway. And we went through every single detail that at that point was publicly available, all of which, by the way, is basically, it was retreaded when you look at what Tucker was talking about. Not that there's anything wrong. I like Tucker's show. I think he does a lot of great work. Sure, there were new angles, but the spirit of what actually happened January 6th was not new. 7 people were killed, officers. No, then it was 5. Then it was 0. We knew that. We knew the only person shot was Babbitt. We knew that the QAnon shaman was someone who was very likely touched and was escorted in. He was welcomed in by the Capitol Police. Here's my issue, is when you have not just the left, but every single person on the right. Until Tucker Carlson, we were on break.
The wife loves Aldi's, man.
We didn't know.
She loves
We
Aldi's.
follow this on such a granular level. We didn't know this about January 6th.
But don't
Then
tell
you
her
have
mom.
to ask the question, why didn't they
Her mom
know?
knows, believe
This is
me.
an entertainment show, and we knew, and we provided
She
all those
loves the
references
Aldi.
for months, really, for
Corned beef
years.
sounds good.
When people who are, whether it's the Lindsey Grahams, whether it's some of the talking heads out there, tell you, we didn't know, these are revelations, and you've known it for a long time, where you've accepted it as fact, you do have to ask yourself, why? Why are we continually represented by people like Lindsey Graham, Mitt Romney, Paul
And
Ryan,
by the
whoever
way,
it
you
is?
made this point on my show last week. So before you go to Mug
I
Club,
was wrapping this up in a nice little, but go ahead.
No, I want to. This is important.
Okay.
And it's not about kissing you and your crew's ass, or saying how great Infowars has been. Let's be honest about this, okay? When you came out against Conservative Inc., I think in a very nice, friendly way, but they proved your point later when they were saying things that weren't true. I defended you because you were one of the only people.
I don't think I've ever had some from there.
Who defended me when I was getting deplatformed and had me on the day after, and continued to after that. Before, you really didn't have that much. You really came away because you realized we're all going to hang together and hang separate. And then all those other people actually supported it, and then cheerleaded it, and then turn around and act like they're not having contracts to control people. No, if they back free speech in the past in the general area, then I'd say, okay, they can kind of have these predatory contracts, because that's their business, okay? But you have a right to say you think it's bad. And I know I'm bringing up old issues here, but here's what viewers and listeners need to know of why this is such an important show. Everything else is too serious. They put out the truth and hardcore information, but make it fun. Well, that's why the show's so popular and expanding. This is something we need in America and worldwide to promote freedom. You also have to understand, everybody that promotes liberty gets targeted. That's why most people roll over, like so many of the controlled conservative opposition groups.
Yeah, she enjoyed that.
And myself and many others out there on the front lines that don't compromise, we make it safe for them now to cover all the stories we covered a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And so it's not that, hey, we're the originals and we're the best and we're the Mavericks and, we are the top guy on the teams. Just remember that. It's about understanding that the function that we serve and that you have served by supporting us, and I mean, Stephen and
Cops up here, it says too. I ain't seen one cop that is marked on the map.
When the Big Neck story comes out, well, everybody else sticks their finger in the air and sees what's safe and gets permission from big tech for what they can do. Ask mommy for permission. We're going to go immediately with what we believe is the information. Now, I'm right about 95% of the time.
Can't give anybody the BAM if they ain't there.
I'm checking everything. He's right about 99% of the time.
Where they hide?
The issue is we're trying to tell the truth. We're trying to get it right, and we're trying to be.
Yeah,
independent.
it is good.
All these other groups operate like politicians.
We had some Ruben
not about our future and not having World War III.
rolls too.
Securing our borders and stopping the fentanyl and stabilizing the dollar and stopping all this crime and defending free speech. So that's why this is a revolutionary act to support Mud Club and Steven Crowder, and what Rumble's doing is beautiful, and what Elon Musk is doing is beautiful, and so that's what I'm saying. Support what Elon Musk is doing. Support Steven Crowder. Become a subscriber. Tell your friends and family to become subscribers. But whatever you do, don't visit thatworld.tv.
I run a pretty decent dash cam too. I just got to figure out how to be able to run it or display it while I'm streaming.
Do not take my word. When I say we've been talking about this for years, go back and check references. If someone is telling you that they're providing you with facts and never having actually provided you with a referenceable fact that you can use for yourself, your antenna should
Pork
go up.
loin?
And that's a lot of people.
Always good.
Don't trust me. Don't take my word for it, because I wouldn't. That's why we provide all the references for you. And
I used my pit barrel smoker last time I cooked some.
Free all month. LiveWithBetter.com/Buckle. Just head on over to Rumble right now. If you're in Rumble, hit that button. Boom. We're going to keep going. Just right now, piss off YouTube.
Oh, here's one of them. There are a couple of breakfast Sammys, half off breakfast Sammys, because I bought them after 11. Look at this guy. Who's he got pulled over up here? Dude, you don't have to do less. Hit the brakes on the freeway. That's smart.
So Alex,
There's a cop behind him there on the side of the road. You just let that guy go.
man now. I'm the president.
So this guy's going to take off from a traffic stop and then do less than the speed limit as well.
Oh, no!
And
Oh, my God.
you should get pulled over just for all those stupid stickers.
Why would we put this-
Florida Seminoles. Okay, he's got a weed plant. That's cool.
No, so we talked about the Lindsey Graham thing. We talked about the Ukraine.
How would you do that to your car?
So, you know, when we talk about that situation, a lot of people right now, it seems like fear porn on the news channels. Like, it's World War III, and it's coming down the pike. What do you think? What is the end of this in your mind? The Russia-Ukraine situation?
Ooh, put some rub on it.
It's all
Nice.
part of the recklessness of the establishment of the deep state. These are not the people that took over the American empire and set up the New World Order. They were corrupt, they were out of control, they were bad, but they did want to have World War III. And that's why you never saw a former president indicted or a current president indicted.
Yeah.
Now they're ready to do it. It's why, just 7 months ago, Biden said we can't send Abrams tanks. That'll start World War III on the escalation curve.
Right, yeah.
And then he sends the tanks. And so it just shows that all the old rules that were created because they have common sense so we don't destroy ourselves are being thrown to the wayside. And now they're on the news saying, well, we can have a limited nuclear war. It's not a big deal. So this is really...
But we can't have nuclear power because that's a bigger threat, I guess. To
Exactly. We can't have nuclear power, but
Yeah.
we can have a limited nuclear war.
Okay, that's fantastic. Right now, CNN actually has Putin and Xi Jinping. They have their second day of talks in Moscow. This is the scenario that I think Lane probably laid out. He actually said these guys were not necessarily friends, but later on down the road, this could push these two together because if you're Russia trying to sell energy and you're China who needs energy, it just makes it kind of a natural connection. You guys may not have been, all that big of friends.
Yeah, they
But
border
now
each
you
other.
are. And I think my biggest problem with this entire thing, Alex, is that this could have been handled very quickly, right? There's a lot of conversations about NATO encroachment, and what was kind of setting this conflict off. You mentioned, and there's some really interesting books about the history of Ukraine and Russia and the region that really helps people understand why this is happening. But at the same time, we've also made the other guy a celebrity. We've made Zelensky into a worldwide celebrity. He's been on, I think the Oscars had him come, phone in. He's been to the United States and spoken to Congress. He's been to Parliament. He's spoken with leaders around the world. He's become basically this huge celebrity. And not only have we sent weapons, not only have we sent money over there, we've now elevated the status of this guy. And that makes Russia look worse and worse and worse. And when you have somebody who's backed into a corner like Putin obviously is, by the way, that's the only person on the planet that can actually see eye to eye with Putin.
I was going to say, you can back him into small corners.
Very, very small corners. But when you back a guy like that into a corner and he starts to look bad, that's when all the sharks start coming out in his country to try to take him out. And the only thing that he can do is try to look strong. You're pushing him in that direction. Now, maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe somebody takes him out. Maybe he finds a different way out.
No mercy. Welcome.
With too much fire.
We're listening to Louder with Crowder with Alex Jones on.
There's the whole RAND Corporation threat continuum that was developed in the 60s that they still use the Pentagon today, and it goes from 1 to 43, and 43 is the end of the world, and we're already up into the late, high 20s, and so this is an escalation curve as Russia gets put in a corner. You're absolutely right.
Did you have to go to the bathroom, Alex? I know you said you had to. I can.
I just peed on the floor.
He did.
You peed in the bush outside.
Animals use the corner, Alex.
Hey, I took over.
Did you?
I took over your desk.
I don't care. That's fine. Think anyone gives a rat's ass about this desk?
No, but he
This isn't even. This is pine, by the way.
Right
This is a soft.
I peed on the desk.
You've been taking your vitamins. This is pine. It's a soft wood. Remember the first time my first desk split? It split in half. Remember,
yeah,
because I was like,
right.
"What is this?" They're like, "Oh yeah, it's a guy came in. He's like, that's pine. That's a softwood. You need oak." I was like, "Ah, I have no idea. I don't know wood." You know wood really well, Alex?
I do know that pine is a weaker wood depending on the type of pine.
Yeah, but it's
There's
beautiful.
knotty pine. There's a lot of types, but
I know the cedar causes the allergies you talked about.
I do not like those.
Yeah, I know, but they say that cedar repels mosquitoes, cedar with oil, but then apparently the cedar trees attract mosquitoes. I know at one point they said that peppermint oil repels spiders. You know what I mean? Like peppermint, like spiders don't like mint. I found a wolf spider in my mother's mint plant. What? So let it be said. Never trust the deep state.
It was very unhappy.
Yes, it was there begrudgingly. I don't like this mint plant.
Listen, we've given a lot of conversation to the giant tables. What is this giant hall? If they pan back, that's like the giant empty cavernous room that these guys are meeting in. They're 50 feet away from the nearest person on either
I know, which is
side.
not a good look for featherweights.
Oh yeah, cedar smells awesome.
It's all meant to give a grandiose image of their power and magnitude.
Yeah, exactly. Which is just their. I mean, that's what you need when they are very tiny.
I'm gonna run in real quick. Hopefully it won't be long. I'm gonna run in, grab these tickets, and come back out. I'll be right back.
There's a whole one big commercial for Lego, right? Lego man, yeah.
You know, I think Clinton is about the same size as Fauci.
Oh, is he really?
Look at that hall. Look at that. Look how big that is. Look, they're petting.
That is a huge ass hall. This is the thing. When you have a country that is basically, when you're talking about basically indentured servitude, of course, in China, when you're talking about people who are enslaved, violations of civil rights, right? When you're talking about being a piece of shit who only can be strong if you're in the form of a gang, guess what? You need to have these grandiose halls, right? It's all about the pomp and circumstance to hide the fraud. These are weak men. These are weak men, but here's the thing. Weak men can be dangerous men.
Very.
Because weak men team up. That's the only way they can take on. And in this case, of course, I'm talking about this sort of allegorically when we're talking about the United States, when we're talking about China, right? You talk about them as this big paper tiger. Fact is, if they want to deal with the United States, and that's one thing Donald Trump did that nobody else did, I am eternally grateful to President Trump for pointing out the threat that was China and how we had to deal with China. Yeah.
He was totally right about that, but I see China as far more evil than Russia. And let's just not forget, the war's bad on both sides. Putin shouldn't have taken the bait. But the West admits, and I've even seen people like Soros on Fareed Zakaria 5 years ago bragging that he got $5 million from the State Department and overthrew the Ukrainian government in 2014. So this has been ongoing, this proxy war between NATO and Russia, and it's on Russia's doorstep. So finally it's gone to a full-scale war that, again, is escalating. That's why it's bad. And the good news is, in most polls, over 70% of Americans, as high as 85%, don't like this war and want it to stop. So the good news is the people have rejected it.
Speaking of poll, let's ask you, the audience right now in chat. Do you want us? We have several segments here that we can't get to. Our map is always overstuffed about Donald Trump and his results with voters of color. Voters of color. That's what we call them now. Voters of color. Or we have a bit about Gerald knows sports, that hockey is, you allege it's gay.
I don't
go say that on a bench and see what happens.
Mike Tyson just came out and said they shouldn't arrest Trump.
Did he? No, he said they shouldn't arrest.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's be fair.
You know, I took mushrooms with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, well, that's not something I would
All right,
admit to.
here we go.
Well, I guess it's legal now.
I didn't lose anybody. Good.
It's
It
California.
was his brand.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Hey, listen, I don't take a lot of drugs, okay? So, all right.
Why do you feel the need to say that?
No, I'm just completely honest. I smoked
Sunday,
once or twice a year.
5:15, Toledo Walleye versus the Greenville Swamp
Was
Rabbits.
that a little bit too strong in retrospect?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say.
They didn't have no vouchers, so I only had 2 tickets, but it's okay. Me and the wife will go.
Fat when I took one hit. And, you know what I mean? I smoked pot a couple times a year with Joe. That's about it. And I hadn't taken mushrooms in decades.
Yeah.
And then he's like, have my candy
Mushrooms.
bar, my candy bar brand of this. He goes, now be careful. Don't eat more than half the candy bar.
No, he has a list. He doesn't sound retarded. You make him sound like a
I
monument.
really do. But then, so I did like a 3-hour podcast with him, but I only took like 3 of the pieces. He said take 6. So I took a light dose, and I was like, all of a sudden, his head's like this, and it's Mike Tyson, and I'm just like, oh, yeah. It was really weird.
In my candy bar, you're going to see Jesus, and I'll make orphans of your children.
And then I was supposed to do full send.
Yeah, they're doing pretty decent
By the
again.
time I got there,
They're always pretty competitive.
it knocked me out.
Right.
So I smoked like 2 joints with Tyson. By the
They
time
started
I
off pretty slow this year, but they've definitely picked it up.
You mustn't be afraid to make better decisions.
They're
Hootie is coming in
like a
and saying
double-A
what-
affiliate of the Detroit Red Wings.
Does the comments want the Trump story?
The Trump story about voters of color. All right. Okay. So let's move on with this. We can continue talking.
Quite a few of the players are signed by the Red Wings.
Later on, we'll take some of your chats. But yeah, that's.
Hey, we could take mushrooms on here sometime.
I am not. I've never taken.
love
You know,
it.
one thing I will say though, that's actually, if people can bring it up, Mike Tyson, because you know his whole thing's hot.
Where?
His
We've seen them in Chicago and in Detroit.
Habib Nurmagomedov was the UFC champion. He's Dagestani, right? Muslim, very devout Muslim, and he was
One of my favorite bands.
incredibly uncomfortable. Like, you cannot smoke. You cannot have any drugs around me. I don't want any drugs anywhere around. I don't want this bullshit. And his.
I did a stream where I played that
Abdul.
when I premiered that video that's on my
name of his
on my page,
That's the
on my
name of his
channel.
But his manager is Muslim also. Was on a plane on 9/11. On a plane, I believe, headed for the Pentagon. Was one of the hijackers and then struck a plea deal.
Wow.
And so there are a lot of fighters who do not trust him. A lot of fighters who don't
Some
like
downtown.
him. He's known as one of those people on that flight.
Toledo.
And, I think he ended up
Doing some work on this building
Let me
here.
describe what Mike Tyson's studio's like. It's I mean, there's a big building there, but they have it in this garage. So they open the back of the garage up. He pulls up in a murdered out.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Rolls Royce, and there's like 15 camera people, and then everybody's got an entourage. So, and then Mike Tyson's family's there.
Trying to get the clear
while you're sitting on these couches in this garage.
clear vinyl of their last album.
Keeps handing you joints, and literally, I mean, I'm honest with my wife. I hardly ever smoke pot, so I smoke.
It's almost a spiritual experience seeing them live.
So I mean, it's just insane, and so I can't imagine that Islamic dude is like in the middle of this.
Oh, he was upset. It was
Because
really
they're all smoking pot.
I know. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you would have to take a hit off a joint to get like everybody. As soon as Mike fires up, everybody goes, whoa. And I mean, and you wonder why they get the back of the garage.
I'm assuming they pre-tape, right? That's probably not live.
Oh yeah, they didn't.
No, they would have to pre-tape.
They put it out like a month later. I'm serious.
When's it coming out? We'll get to it, man.
Why would you do mushrooms with Mike Tyson? Because that's what you need is a scarier version of Mike Tyson.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, come on.
I'll tell you what he said. He goes, I like hanging out with you. I'm not good at potato, but he goes, come to my house tomorrow and we'll do the toad.
Were you gonna lick a toad like it's apocalypto for crying
He
out
goes,
loud?
I got the toad at my house.
Yeah.
I'll take the toad with you. The toad will crush you and show you it's time to die. And once you do that, Alex, I know you need to take the toad. I will. If you come to my house, I'll give you some. Wow. No, there's a video of that.
Did you go? The toad?
No, I mean, I woke up with such a hangover from the mushrooms and the marijuana and the tequila that I was like...
That's where you draw the line at licking the back of a hallucinogenic toad.
Well, I think he said, no, we smoke it. I got a bunch in my house.
What?
They've already extracted it from the toad.
Well, you know what's funny? This is a little bit of it because I know some people.
It's like 5 DMT or...
I know some people who work with Mike Tyson.
The frog, Alex.
Some people have worked with Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a very nice, he's actually a very nice guy. He's a much more dude. And he likes most people who've appeared on the show. You know the one person who, from what I've heard, he taped the whole thing, and the guy left, and he turned to his producer, he said, that guy's a prick, man. It was Bill. That guy's an absolute prick. I wish I could, I'm not violent. But
Yeah, the booze did the hangover. Tequila, fuck yeah.
Mike Tyson
I'll take both the shrooms and the weed, but
said,
that
I want you to come out. I really like what you're doing. They've done you wrong.
I'm okay with the tequila.
So I get there. I interview him for my show, which we aired, which was part of his show.
Yeah.
And then
I'll even lick a toad.
He called me and said, I'm sorry, I don't own the show. They've never done this before, but they say, that we're not going to air it. But that's all right. Come out here sometime. We'll hang out. I'll go on your show. And I said, hey, I understand, Mike. So they never even put out my podcast with him. But I had a bunch
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but you had some bits that you had recorded.
Yeah, but that was all, again, because he's contracted to do that.
Yeah.
They killed that. And because I tell you, it was almost...
This is the thing. A lot of people think that the podcast world is all organic and it's people talking. It's
No.
not. There are a lot of...
That's why this is so rare, what you've got and what I've got.
I mean, a lot of it is Showtime, and a lot of it is a few major networks. That's where if you look and see all of these thumbnails, they look the same, and all these guests, they go on each other's podcasts. It's a quid pro quo to put... So it's almost like professional wrestling. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, but there are a lot of people who are not free to host who they want,
Yeah.
when they want. And
I don't know when they're touring back over here again.
We can do whatever we want.
Right before COVID hit, we saw him in Chicago. We took an Amtrak train from Ann Arbor to Chicago.
By the way, breaking some records again.
Okay. It was a great trip out there. We stayed in a hotel. Saw him that night. Ran around Chicago the next day. Stayed one more night. Jumped on the train, and the train stopped in the middle of a cornfield on the way back on Western Michigan, and we sat there for hours while they tried to get a new engine out to it. It was a pretty good experience. That's where I actually proposed to Mrs. Indoctrination. We got married that year. Then we saw him again last September at the Masonic Temple in Detroit.
Provincials like 60-something to nothing. I still never knew what the strong side was for Biden. They said, you go there and so Donald Trump, here's one thing that a lot of people, that surprises people if you haven't been paying attention, does not surprise us here.
Right.
According to recent polling, and this is CNN, they really didn't want to do this segment, big reason that Donald Trump is leading the Republican primary, and he is because of his success among voters of color.
29. It's 29 points. So Trump lead in the primary over DeSantis is 29 points among GOP and GOP-leaning voters of color. That is non-white Republicans.
What is that, the alfalfa on the back of his head?
Significant lead, 29 points. And I want to compare white voters with voters of color on the GOP.
No, I'd already done it already. And then we sat there and they had some crappy Wi-Fi, and we tried to watch a movie on the train while we were waiting. It was pretty miserable.
It's 29 points, so he's doing.
They did let us out to stand in the cornfield to smoke, though.
He is among white voters.
That was the first thing we talked about, was this?
I think mainly the crew that was there wanted to smoke, so that's why they let us. They knew they weren't going to get away with it, just doing it themselves.
You guys are robots.
Yes, that could be. So here's the thing. This is very surprising, and this is important because people who say demographics are destiny. Now, look, there is some component of that is true. However, I would argue the most important demographic that will lead us to a shallow grave in this country is white college-educated women. I know that you're saying that means they're smart. No, it doesn't. I'm talking about white college-educated women, specifically in the humanities degrees and in those fields. So how can this be that Donald Trump is leading by a large margin with people of color?
Whoa!
Incredible race.
Came flying off of that.
This is something that we were told by the media for a very, very long time. And by the way, even former Vice President, pedophile in chief, Biden told us so.
Pedophile in chief.
Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one.
Well, to be fair, he said fracist.
Francis.
He said,
Well, it's the Democrats that literally admit that they are trying to create racial division or control because it's all they got. But Trump has done better than any modern Republican since Richard Nixon with minority voters.
Actually, it's funny.
That's why they pounded him and pounded him and pounded him.
Lindsey Graham, he can pound anything. You give him a velour couch, he'll pound it.
Because they know he was gaining traction.
Yeah.
So that's why they doubled down with the insanity.
Well, he actually gained, so to give you an idea, exit polling showed that Trump improved among voters of color from 2016 to 2020, plus 4% with black voters, plus 3% with Hispanic voters, plus 5%, meaning a gain from beforehand. And Trump actually lost ground with white voters, as noted by CNN. Trump probably would have won the 2020 election had he had slightly less slippage among white voters. Now, keep in mind, this momentum continued with Donald Trump to the 2022 midterms. Republicans had improvement compared to 2018 with black voters plus 4%.
The epidemic of white on Asian crime.
Yes. Hey, Asian Americans, remember when you were being used as a pawn? Remember the Stop Asian Hate? What happened there? Because right now you're actually suffering physical violence. I'm not saying the left talk about it. Now let's talk about the economics.
Well, let's talk about Stop Hate on Asians. That was literally non-existent.
Right. Yeah, well, it has been existent for a very long time between the black community and Asian community. If you spend time in Los Angeles or New York, in the South Bay area, I think it's 80-something%. Someone can bring this up from a previous show map. 80-something% of all physically violent crimes take place blacks against Asians in the Bay Area. And by the way, this is something we want to talk about with the income, okay? Economics. Because people say, well, hold on a second, black people aren't doing as well as white people. Okay, under Donald Trump, though, everyone saw immediate income increase. Let's look at the minority stats first. Voters of color. Hispanics saw their income go up 7.1%. Black Americans saw their income go up 7.9%. Asians, 10.6%. Now, do we have a contrast compared with the median incomes for voters of color under Obama or Biden? Well, under Obama, between 2019 and 2014, the median income dropped by 1%. Under Biden, the median income for black households is technically up from 2020 to 2021, but 1%, while inflation is up 15%. And this is important. That's right. That's the hidden tax. Is inflation. It's
actually outrageous.
Yeah, it is outrageous. But here's the thing. People will say, oh, if it's only up 7% for black people, but it's up 15% for Asians, it's up 15% for the country at large. Would you rather have a country? This is why I always say income inequality is not the problem. Poverty is the problem. So if you have certain groups where their income increases 7%, certain groups where it increases 14%, they are still better off than everyone's income decreasing 1%, even though that's more equal.
And by the way, they know this. For people that don't know, it's a big statistic. If you go back to 1954 or so, the U.S. population was 4% of the world population. So 96% lived outside the U.S. And we had around 51% of the world's wealth. And it was the most widely distributed ever in the biggest middle class the planet ever saw, that just grew in the 10 years after World War II. So how does 4% of the world population have half the wealth that didn't exist before? We made the economy, we made the wealth, and a lot of that came out of Henry Ford's ideas.
We're in Michigan.
I'm going to pay people enough to buy my car. If that happened in the basic
Got another 20 minutes left on
is
this
that
drive,
the
guys.
globalists, the social engineers, they don't want upwardly mobile people. They want to consolidate economies. They want people that can control the universal basic income with the social credit score, with the central bank digital currencies, all things that are happening. And so that's why the left is funded by the big corporations on average that don't want a free market because they don't want competition. They're in power. They want to sew it up. They know in a free market they'll be replaced with new innovative ideas and entrepreneurs and cultures. And so literally that's what they want, is a permanent underclass, and that's why they're so threatened, because if you do basically
deer blind.
almost everybody will be successful. Everybody
Yeah, I don't know how pure it is either.
And a king 1,000 years ago didn't have it as good as our poorest people in America today. So the perspective
hasn't been pure since Gretchen Hitler took over.
We need to explain that it's easier to make people become successful and wealthy in a society.
They do put these barrels out once in a while, though. They don't do anything. They just put the barrels out. Here, I'll show you. We're going to enter a construction zone pretty soon. They're not doing anything.
They want a hobbled, broke-back, controlled group they can dominate.
And this goes back to the idea we talked about yesterday, equality versus equity. Right? So there's income inequality. How do you fix that? Equity. The only way to fix income inequality through equity, meaning insured outcomes, is everyone is equally poor. You know where they have income equality? Venezuela, Cuba. They have that in many South American countries. Well, China, aside from a few wealthy elites. This is something that people need to, every time you hear the term income inequality, hold on a second. Is inequality the problem, or is poverty the problem? They can both be a problem, but what is the greater problem? And I would argue the greater problem is poverty and a rising tide.
She pulled them all out right before the election last year. They didn't do anything, and then as soon as the election was over with, they pulled them all out.
Fighting for jobs is what they say, right? We want jobs.
It's been a very mild winter in Michigan.
More money, and you say, okay, well, every time you tell me that this flipping
cold, but not a ton of snow.
Is it worth more money? Because I don't make any more money off of.
They could have been working.
Just raise the prices to people if I do. Right.
They've done it before through the winter.
Ways to not have people there, and then you get pissed off because you don't have enough people employed. You're pushing in the wrong directions. Democrats are either stupid or very, very smart, and they're causing people.
Well, I want to hold on a second.
They're following the whole Klaus Schwab model. They admit they want to make us poor.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. And I want to bring us back to the point of those specifically voters.
You will own nothing and be happy, they say.
Donald Trump's appeal, it doesn't just come down to the results, right? People experience it. This is where the left is going to lose, is the gaslighting. Here's the beauty. In my lifetime, we never had that contrast of like, Jimmy Carter and Reagan. We had George Bush Sr., Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama. They kind of all bleed together. Yeah. None of them are very conservative. You did have a contrast. So you have 8 years of Obama, really 3 years of Donald Trump, and now you're going to have 4 years of Biden. You can see the results, and this administration and the media and those people in the big tech industrial complex can tell you, actually things are better. Everyone knows that they are not. You can only lie to people when they are experiencing the lie that you're trying to sell, before they decide to turn on you. And we have contrast between 8, 3, because not 4 from Donald Trump, and now another 4 from Biden, and how almost down to the decimal no income growth with Obama and Biden, and there's an exception with Donald Trump, almost down to the, when you're talking about crime, when you're talking about new businesses created, when you're talking about black people coming out of poverty, almost down to the, like as though it's
and that's what panicked the Democrats, the deep state, because they want permanent dependence.
Yes, and there's also something else that to be said for Donald Trump, his appeal to men of, let's just say, black guys, okay? Yeah. Specifically, here's another example, and I find it very amusing. At his last, one of his last rallies anyway, he was endorsed by a rapper. There's a lot of Lils. This is Lil Pump.
And speaking of sound, music, and other things, one of the big superstars of the world, Little Pimp.
Pimp or Pump, Donald?
There he is.
Little Pimp.
How's it going? You want to come up and say
the entertainment value of Trump.
Come on. Little Pump. Come on.
You just the mic for once. Pulls it down.
You know how big he is?
Yeah, baby, is that a little pump? He's a big pump. He's like the Reebok sneaker pump.
It's a nice
house. Barrels, walls, no work.
Mr. President, I appreciate everything for our country. Brought the troops home, and you're doing the right thing.
And look at my pain jacket.
2020. Don't forget that.
Wait, it's 2020. 20?
That's the future.
Oh.
We're not in the future yet, Lil Pimp. Pump the brakes. I love his pain jacket too. That's perfect. And by the way, even Dave Chappelle, who of course has been turned on by the LGBTQAI GOP. And this shouldn't be surprising because if you know the black community at all, if you spend time with them, and I was, I got to being in comedy.
It's disgusting, man. They're just taking away lanes.
Why? Because they're good at it.
Making it a construction zone so they can fine you.
Busting balls. And so you have a lot of black comedians. Some of the best ever. You have Pryor, you have Chris Rock, you certainly have Dave Chappelle, right? They're very, very, I would say, fairly represented because it's performatively based and
not doing shit.
Relate to Donald Trump in a lot of ways.
Shit's been like this for a month.
I don't understand why Trump was so popular, but I get it because I hear it every day. It's very loved. That first debate, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a white male billionaire screaming at the top of his lungs, "This whole system is rigged," he said. And across the stage was a white woman, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, sitting there looking at him like, "No, it's not." I said, "Now wait a minute, bro." That's what he said. And the moderator said, "Well, Mr. Trump, if in fact the system is rigged, as you suggest, what would be your evidence?" You know what he said, bro? He said, "I know the system is rigged because I use it."
So, he's also had endorsements from Lil Wayne, but this is the point, like, rappers have consistently talked about Donald Trump, right? He's sort of been a trope that's used in hip-hop. So, look, often...
No, but it's like when the left tried to sell the 50s and 60s communism in the black community, and it failed. So they said, okay, now we'll just use racial division to get them on the socialism and communism. Black folks, on average, like most people, but particularly, reject, no, two men aren't having a baby, and two women, and this is all made up.
Yeah.
And so at a certain point, it's like, this,
well, you know what else? They don't have a problem with gender roles and gender norms. In the
it just backs up traffic on the other side, too. There's for no reason. Look at this.
Right, it's something that
they're not doing any work, but look at how bad.
They don't.
It was backed up all the way to the exit I go to yesterday.
Look, not white women in college.
More and more college education. It's just
I can't even take southbound home. I gotta take Dixie Highway all the way home.
It's true. They really think they're the boss of everything now, and it's a cult. I don't care.
Rush hour at night is ridiculous. You can't even drive down this way.
But when they all get together
the other way
and try to overthrow reality and tell us how to talk and tell us they're going to re-edit Shakespeare now and thousands of other books like George and the Giant Peach, I'm like, dude, you're a cult, man.
Yeah.
Stop.
Well, the irony train is not stopping here. When it was a UK council decided they were going to put Orwell's 1984 on a book watch list, that it may encourage extremist thought. I mean, talk about a lack of their current
self-rewriting Shakespeare.
Yes, but they're also
saying look at how backed up this is.
Might encourage people
for no reason.
To trust the government. That's the point. By the way, the movie sucked. The movie is just a bunch of
It's disgusting, man.
He was a top propagandist at BBC, high-level socialist, OSS, high-level thinking socialist.
One of the biggest pipelines between Canada and the United States. Right there in Detroit. They got to go south on 75 to get to the rest of the country. And look at them all. They're all trucks. All backed up for no reason. Just like when they did the lockdowns. They had them backed up for no reason.
But the principle remains. Alex Jones, it is MadMaxWorld.tv well, it says 11 a.m. It's noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. Let's make sure that we get that right. And let's grab some chats here. Alex, thank you for being here, brother. We're going to grab some chats from people here who, of course, are watching for free right now. LiveNorthCarolina.com/Mug Club. We appreciate it. Please, by the way, if you don't join, none of this exists. We're able to have out. Is anyone else having Alex Jones not as a guest?
And now we're entering the Green Mile.
We said we didn't have you on as a guest very often. First off,
all right, what's the vote? What's this building going to be? There's no sign yet. What is this building going to be? I say another dispo. Probably. All the big names are out here so far. At first I thought it was going to be an auto parts store or something, but now I'm thinking it's going to be another dispo because when we get to the other side of the overpass here, you'll see. COVID camp.
I like to guess because, quite frankly, I get sick of myself after about an hour.
Yeah.
So usually I got a bunch of guests, and I'm like, I like this guest because I want to listen to them.
Yeah.
It's really me like watching a show.
Especially
COVID camps will be bigger than that.
Well, used to, I interrupted a lot. I've gotten better on my own show, hardly don't say. You know, sometimes the guests
Nice
come, hey,
portion.
there? And I'm like, you eating a hamburger? Yeah, I'm here.
All right, we got King of Buds.
Let's get this man a hamburger. All right, let's grab some chats. And we can take it with Alex. All right, Hootie. Let's see what you got. By the
This
way,
used to be an outlet mall, by the way, on the right.
yesterday, I asked him, his voice was very dry because he's like, don't scrub. And you know when you're...
So there's a lot of empty buildings that they're going to start filling with. So we got King of Buds, we got Nirvana. Nirvana used to be
All right, Hootie. Hit us with some chat.
Yeah, so,
Taco Bell.
first one is
Taco Bell's across the street now.
So what Alex asked for.
Herb, that used to be a Burger King.
Can we enlarge that?
See the rest of the outlet mall there.
Can we... Wait. No, that's you and Leia.
You got House of Dank.
I literally look like a fat gay man.
What else we got?
Princess Leia.
There's a couple of them back there.
You look like Princess Leia.
House of Dank. You got Exclusive.
That's what I would think. If I saw it, I'd think, Carrie Fisher? Oh, it's Alex.
And there's one other one. I can't read it. They don't have a sign out here at the road yet. So there's 6 of them.
I like that.
Well, they can't do it instantly, Alex. Okay, it's a volunteer
Can I ask one rider tomorrow? Because I guess you heard I like Lime Topo Chico.
I didn't hear it through the grapevine. You told me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Anyways, give me some Lime Topo Chico.
Like, isn't that the conspiracy story?
But can I have like heard this tomorrow? But apparently somehow he caught wind that I like Lime Topo. It's like you said, Stephen, I really like Lime Topo Chico.
I said, okay, I'll have it for you. That's all. And then you left and we had that was all.
No. I was talking to my producer saying, get me Lime Topo Chico.
Yeah.
And then I guess you just heard me when you were on the other day. Oh, that's...
No. Last time you were here, you said you liked it.
Oh, okay. Last time I was here.
Yeah, we planned for it. We said he liked it.
Yeah, he caught a strike last time.
Which we know is
but I'm not a prima donna. I didn't. It wasn't.
No, you're not at all. You're not at all. You're actually you're great. But we always try and if we know that a guest likes something, if there's a drink or a coffee.
He's got a beautiful Maine Coon cat too, like ours.
Good.
They're trying to take it from him. There's another piggy.
You don't have to salivate, and you don't have to say that they look like dogs. Just say they're fed.
I don't think he's doing the speed limit. I think he's going a little fast.
So, I'm married. I'm joking. But my wife likes it more than I do. So that's I'm sorry.
Good. All right, let's grab some more chats.
We're just having some fun
We're
here.
joking. It's jokes.
Melania likes girls too.
Lindsey Graham likes to pound. Dear God, can we get a chat? Yes.
Yes, Palm Missling.
Jump in.
Will there be Cultural Appropriation Month in June? I know last year you said you didn't know.
Here's the thing. We'll need your suggestions because we're revisiting countries.
I could do like a Chinese imitation tomorrow.
Well, that's not June.
It's not June, and we didn't request it.
It's time for you to take your fentanyl. Hello, Stephen. I'd like to use these things.
That's Big Alex in Little China.
It really is, yeah.
Just need to find a bitch with green eyes.
Yeah.
What about Japanese president?
There's no such thing as a dry state. But yeah, I get it.
I have to say that
It's funny, I have my Ohio medical card,
way better.
but it's still cheaper to get recreational prices in Michigan
Do you think there's a Japanese Alex Jones? Do you think like there's an
than medical prices in Ohio. So all any candidate would have to do is say, I am going to make sure that it becomes federally legal, and it doesn't matter what your views are, you would get
They
elected.
defer, though. They very much defer to authority.
I might even vote again.
Was that a Santa Japanese?
Hopefully Anna's not in here.
Okay. All right, let's go. Because he started with ho ho ho.
Somebody's gonna tell on me.
So I thought it was ho ho ho.
I would vote.
Japanese Santa. I don't know what they have. All right, let's grab another chat.
Next chat is from Notorious Dog. Alex, do you think you or Owen Schroyer will ever be reinstated on Twitter?
I can answer that. No. I hope so. By the way.
The system puts such demonization in the bank attacking me.
Oh shit, she heard.
You know, they did in the first and second Iraq invasions. Hillary invasions, tens of thousands of articles, thousands of programs, never-ending lies to demonize population.
That would be the only reason I'd vote, though.
Demonization in the bank that it must rub back on all the good work he's got.
Nobody's actually made that
They
promise.
should be able to bring Twitter down and have shareholders leave. So I don't expect that. But it's good to be the most lied about demonized person on the compass. So I kind of embrace the black sheep nature of it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And actually, as a matter of fact,
Not legalize, decriminalize. Uh-oh, another piggy.
11
Speaking of Owen Schroyer, he's going to hold down the
I turned my signal on too late.
while I
Another one, 2 in a row.
focus to get ready. But
Yeah.
I'll be hosting my show here in a few minutes.
Exactly. We have to get the studio reset up for you.
Mad Next World. I know.
Yep.
MadMaxWorld.tv.
I got one in front and one behind me now.
You can say it on Rumble, Infowars.com.
But we never really did a deal with them, so they never put us on the front page.
Yeah, he's tailgating me.
There, so I do need to talk to Rumble folks. I know
Do you stream at Rumble?
He's going to turn right here where this other guy turned.
Yeah, we do, but here's what happened. The guy at Rumble reached out, and then I got a new phone and got a race, so I'm going to get his number.
Because there are a bunch of fake Alex Jones channels on Rumble. I don't know if there is. Which one is
there's a bunch of fake ones.
Okay, all right. So you are on Rumble though as well.
We do a live stream, but the point is, I'm going to do a deal with them so we can stream it even stronger.
Yeah, but we can say Infowars.com. You can say that here because we're on Rumble and we're not being suspended from YouTube, and Rumble doesn't give a rat's ass.
I like that Rumble obelisk.
Yeah, well, they give you one for 100,000, then they give you one for 1 million. But the thing is, it's the same one for both, which I don't like.
Well, why don't you cry about it?
Do you still have your YouTube channel shut up?
Yeah, we did. It's actually been destroyed for that parody we did of The Office Space because it's been eviscerated.
We have it.
But they owe us another one. They owe us 3 more plugs. They owe us two.
They're on the way.
Are they?
Yeah.
The 3?
It's going to take a little while to get, but we put in the request and they dutifully,
Oh, that's so much fun because you know they knew we were going to blow it up.
Well, and they
were like, you do owe us other plaques because we did cross other milestones. For the longest time, I said, no, we can't.
By the way, you know,
Man, fucking tailgating the fuck out of me.
Form of flattery. We went and shot up.
Yeah, fucking asshole. There you go.
The other 4 or 5, like you were talking about.
Eat shit,
But
motherfucker.
we were shooting it with like 5.56 and stuff, and it was bouncing off, whatever that alloy is. We had to shoot it with like
Please pull me over.
38 Lapuas and more high caliber stuff that went right through it, but it's crazy.
You will rue the day.
I wasn't there.
Oh, that's right. You weren't there. You were not invited. No, because you're a horrible
You will
shot.
get a defiant motherfucker. You pull me over.
Big, I mean, super heavy, big, like. But I thought it was like aluminum. It's not.
Thanks for rubbing it in my face.
No, yours is cooler.
We're still on the YouTube.
Yours is smaller but prettier.
And I see perfect justice. All right, we will see you tomorrow. Tune in, Infowars.com, Alex Jones, noon, 11 Central. And we are here all week. Please do. LouderDeCutter.com/monthly. Free all month.
And I'm back tomorrow, and I did a bad job.
No, of course you're around here. You know, we might have to put a shocker underneath your chair. We'll see you tomorrow.
Perfect timing. Oh yeah, well I'll kick off a live stream if I do get pulled over. For sure. Because they're gonna get me for this contraption that I got holding here. Look at this. Here. Look at this. This is what holds up my phone while I'm streaming and going. So they would get me for either that, which is attached to the rearview mirror. That is up in the above the AS1 line, so they can't really say anything about the dash cam, or that. This is what I was watching Mud Club on. That's the good phone. So, but I'll pay those tickets just so I can give them shit. Probably gonna get some work done before I go live today, if I do desktop. We'll see. I got to never know. Sometimes there's a bunch, sometimes there isn't. And the bosses are bitching about numbers, so which I don't have a whole lot of control over, but it is what it is. But yeah, we'll probably go live again on the desktop around 30 minutes after the hour. Give me a half hour to get some shit shut up and get some shit done. I got people that are supposed to be here at 1 o'clock Eastern, so thanks for riding with me, y'all. A little bit longer than an hour this time because they stopped at the corporate office. But we're going to go. All right. Peace. I'll be back on in about a half hour. Talk to you later. We might